All right. Greetings. We're on and we are live and funky. From the mountaintop Black Bear News studio. Which who knows how long it's going to be right here, but it is here for now. What's up, y'all? Good to see you. Welcome. We got Victory Jan on Substack. That's cool. Anybody watching on Odyssey? We're live on Odyssey. Still no Telegram yet. I'm going to figure that out. I promise. And of course, we're on YouTube. All right. Got people in the fedoras need to make a comeback. Yeah. I almost bought a fedora the other day. I didn't for various reasons. I kind of wish that I did. Because I haven't had a really good hat collection and I lost it all in the fire. I don't know. Something just told me to hold off on the fedora, but I'm on the hunt for a good brim. Silver's holding, says Malcolm. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense for it to go down, really. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Malcolm, for the reminder. I always need the reminder. Odyssey chat is up. Substack chat is up. And if you want to chat on Substack or Odyssey, you can. I can see it. All right. Denver says, interesting take out of Oxford University. Expert comment. Air pollution cools climate more than expected. Making cutting carbon emissions more urgent. Okay. And I assume he's talking about aerosols, but I don't know. It's the double. It's like the dual effect of clouds. Clouds cool because they cut some of the rays. They also warm because they keep the heat in. So, but there's a devil's bargain in there somewhere, which is mm-hmm. Yeah, Denver. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, where we're at, and we're in a not a great way, because we have pumped so much carbon into the atmosphere that what we have is a latency effect. We have still not realized all the heating from the carbon that we have pumped into the atmosphere. And on top of that, the aerosols have been keeping that heating from being realized. And so when those aerosols are removed, either intentionally or unintentionally, it's going to heat up much more quickly than we ever expected. And which is why I think I had a post, or I read a post last week, but we've seen plenty of this in the past. It's called acceleration. So it's just going to get hotter. It's going to get hotter more quickly, right? As it gets hotter faster, and that's the problem. And we've gotten hot really fast in the last like 3 or 4 years. The last, if you've been paying attention, the last 5 years have been kind of bonkers as far as extreme weather, the rise in overall global heating, etc. And I expect the next 5 or 10 years to get even weirder. And all of that is going to be masked over by the fact that humanity is going to be fighting against the forces of evil, trying to lock them down as everything falls apart. Or maybe not. I saw an interesting post about there is a indigenous tribal from indigenous tribal lore. There's a story about a man in a red hat who is going to save humanity. I saw this in passing on IG. Maybe I can find it. Let's see. Let's shoot. Let's see if I close out my Substack on my phone. Well, Substack people, hold on. Okay, I'm not closing you out. Let's see. Let's see if I could find it. Here we go. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I'm trying to see if I can send this to my phone, to my computer. And also, if my computer will cooperate. All right. Did that. All right. We still good on Substack? Everybody can see me and hear me? I'm sorry if I disappeared there for a second. I think the screen went. There we go. We're back. All right. You can hear me and see me. Yeah. Okay. Here, I'll just play this. No, man, I don't want to log in. I just want to play it, dude. No. I don't even remember what my login is. No. They used to be able to let me play this. Hold on. I kind of hate Instagram for not letting you. Let's see if I can do it somewhere else. Now I'm going to eat up a bunch of time trying to make this work. Annoying, but you guys might want to see this. It's interesting. No. Crap. I don't know what my damn login is. I don't. Let's see. Can we do this quickly? The Pope was just gifted a white horse. Does anyone here get the symbolism? Yeah, I just wanted to get a better explanation of this indigenous tale of a man in a red hat who was going to turn humanity back towards the earth. And he asked the question, is it Donald Trump, the man in the red hat? It could be, Oh, here we go. Oh, well. All right, let's try it, guys. Let's try it. Let's see if it'll work for me. Come on. Yeah. I just want to watch this video. Here we go. All right. They made me log in. What a bunch of clowns. No, it's not in the Bible. Oh my God. Somebody was saying that, what was it? I don't know. They were saying something about something being in the Bible, and I was like, it's not scientific. I mean, there's interesting things in the Bible, and there's interesting stories about Jesus and all that, but it's not scientific. All right, we're going to listen to Taylor here tell you about this story about the man in the red hat. Okay. All right, here we go. Come on, get in it. Get on it.
Please listen to what I'm saying. Pay attention to the feelings that arise within your body as I teach what I'm about to teach. Everyone's familiar with Mr. Orange over here, red cap. Naturally, it's going to stir up some emotion. I was doing some research the other day, and it was a catalyst that allowed me to channel a deeper understanding of something, which I'm going to share with you now. Many of you have heard of the Hopi. They have many prophecies about the time we are in right now. Hopi means peaceful people. They have connections to the Maya. They are wisdom keepers, a deep, profound wisdom. Quite frankly, I try to learn as much as I can from them directly from the source, because there's a lot of people that steal their ideas. They kind of bastardize it and change it to make it like new agey. One prophecy they speak of in this tumultuous time is about a white brother that is going to help turn people back to the wisdom of the earth. One of the things about this white brother is he will be a man in a red hat. Man in a red hat. Who can we think about that is a man in a red hat? As I thought about that, I was like, there's no way in hell this is Donald Trump. And that's where the download came in. As much as people want you to think that life here on Earth is a single project, it's actually a group project, okay? It's a single project because we're all pieces of the same whole manifesting as individuals, but it's a group project because it takes all of us to come back into wholeness. We are all co-dreamers within this dream, co-creators within creation. I'll pay attention to the feelings that arise as I say this. What if I told you that Donald Trump is the one that is going to save us? He is the one that the Hopi prophesied of. It's the white brother that is going to turn us back to the earth. What are the feelings that come up? What are the judgments that come up? Remember, reality is a mirror. If you feel it outside of you, it's showing you that you embody that same energy. If you think that he can't change, it's showing you that you have energy that's also saying there's pieces of you that can't change. This isn't about Donald Trump. I can already feel the comments coming in, okay? I'm not saying he's the chosen one, but what I'm saying is you have to energetically hold the space that he could be. Because if you energetically hold it for him, you energetically hold it for yourself. If you liberate others, you're only liberating yourself. We all have conscious power that manifests into reality. If we
Okay. I'm going to bypass I'm going to do some spiritual bypassing right here. Yeah, it's an interesting take. I mean, he's talking about like holding space for Donald Trump or whatever, which is fine, but Donald Trump could be a catalyst. It couldn't be, he's talking about him as if he is the person who would, turn to good. And maybe, what the heck is this, Poppy? It's people on Instagram, the spiritual advisors on Instagram. There's a whole bunch of them. The seekers of knowledge and spiritual truth. Anyways, well, he says turning back towards the earth. So they're talking about the planet, not the human beings turning back towards the earth, not being so quite wrapped up or involved in our escapades, turning back toward the wisdom of the earth. Anyways, you lost some brain cells. Okay. But what I'm saying is he could be the catalyst, and maybe he could get us into World War III, and then we'll definitely turn back towards Earth because there won't be anything left, right? Anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you. I was hoping you all would find that interesting. I don't know. Maybe you did not. Are you still following along? Are we still here? Okay, great. Please like the video wherever you're watching, whatever platform, like it up, give me a comment, tell me you're here and you're alive. Remember the guy that is running for, he's the new, he's from Maine, the guy Graham Plattner from Maine, who's like the new Bernie Sanders. He's supposed to be this new progressive liberal hero. Apparently he was a guard in the Abu Ghraib prison. Yikes. Or he was defending the Abu Ghraib. I don't know what the difference is. Again, I don't trust if the Democratic Party is putting somebody on a platform and saying, "Yay, here's a new progressive hero who's going to tell you about the oligarchs." I would say progressively bypass those people too. They've all turned into distractions and liars. If they're not affiliated with the Democratic Party, I would give them a little more weight. If they're outside of the Democratic or Republican Party, I would give them a little more weight. About the only person I can see right now is Kshama Sawant. And Mamdani has issues. Although, he says lots of nice things, but they all do. He seems to be, Mamdani seems to be fully supportive of Israel, right? A conscious universe is the most scientifically plausible. The Hopi also talk about the red and the blue Kachinas as harbingers of doom. Red and blue. There you go. So 2 quick stories, and this happened a while ago, but there was a Louvre, the thumbnail for the video apparently was taken outside of the Louvre or right around the scene of the Louvre heist. And they were saying it's kind of where is it? Kind of an interesting picture. Apparently it happened in 4 minutes. Here's from the Daily Mail. Astonishing new video shows Louvre robbers escaping in mechanical delivery basket with 76 million pounds worth of jewels after evading CCTV that was pointing the wrong way.
Okay, merci.
Les individus sont en scooter, ils vont quitter.
Putain, ça y est. La police.
Ah, c'est sûr, pour passage du Suez, qu'on arrête les entrées.
Putain. Ils sont partis, là.
Okay. At 9:30 a.m. on October 19th, the 4 thieves targeted the under construction wing of the 232-year-old museum. Has anybody been to the Louvre? I really like to go to the Louvre. Once the gateway drivers pulled up on scooters, the men began their 7-minute raid, propping their ladder up against the museum's wall, scurrying to the top, and using an angle grinder to pierce through the window. They also managed to evade the camera that monitored the room that was pointing completely in the wrong direction. It looked pretty well covered, though. Inside, they threatened unarmed guards and visitors before breaking into 2 display cabinets and looting 9 prized items, estimated to be worth up to 76 million pounds. Anyways, it's kind of a crazy story. They're going to back up our data to the quantum cloud. Mamdani said he would arrest Bibi if he came to New York City. Okay. Some serious words. I don't know, it's hard to pin Mamdani down. I don't know how you become mayor of New York City and not be owned on some level, but Nick Cruz doesn't have a high idea of him. He does seem to do a little bit of doublespeak on the Israeli thing or the, supporting genocide thing. You've been to the Louvre? Takes a day to view one wing. Okay. Poppy, you've been to the Louvre? You were 14? Right on. They said Louvre Salon. But I'm pumped. All right, moving on. Here's Mike Johnson saying that he can't make a deal with the Democrats on getting the government back open. It's been kind of a long shutdown. How long has it been already?
You said you want to see what happens in the Senate. Why wouldn't you commit right now and say, we're going to have the House back in session and we're going to vote? Because you know as well as I do, sometimes when one body moves something...
Somebody's asking him about
Well, no, I don't know that. We just demonstrated it's not true, Chad. We passed the CR to get everybody paid. If I brought everybody back right now and we voted on a measure to do this, to pay essential workers, it would be spiked in the Senate. They're going to show you this afternoon that they would spike that bill. So it would be a waste of our time, and it would take the pressure off Chuck Schumer to get his job done and open the government again. This is what's so infuriating to us. Yes, sir.
You said yesterday,
Chad.
if it's so important to pay the aircraft...
anyways. Listen to what he's saying. The Democrats are trying to protect people from suffering. Are they? Republicans are using the people suffering as a way to shake the Democrats down. I mean, they have majorities. They have the power to shake them down. And the Democrats have only themselves to blame for putting themselves in this predicament. And I really don't think that they care that much, honestly. They're fine. The Democrats in Congress are, they're not suffering. They're okay. They can play this game. They can do the theater. They can do the dance. And they're only going to, they're going to keep, all of this is they use for selling points for trying to get voters on their side, right? And it may work. I don't know what they have. They don't have much of a stand. They've really lost a lot of standing in people's eyes. I know a lot of Democrats who are quite skeptical now these days of whether Democrats, really care about them or not. They're beginning to understand that it's a lot of grandstanding on the Democrats' side, and that they're not really there to protect their interests. And I think people are sick of getting the emails about, can you want to donate to this campaign or that campaign? How Bernie Sanders has any credibility anymore, I don't understand. He's still out there going, oh, hey. The Dems' obsession with ACA is going to screw SNAP recipients next month. Yeah. I mean, they're making it about protecting the ACA, which is, it's fine, but they're going to end up losing that battle. I don't know how they're going to win that battle. Yeah. It's funny though, because they're both obsessed with a right-wing program, and they're both kicking it around. I don't see how they win the battle. They're going to cave. And meanwhile, more damage gets done. I mean, the Democrats are absolutely useless. And I don't see how they get any better, I mean, pretty much people are, they keep trying to trot out people like the Abu Ghraib, prison guard as the new Bernie Sanders. A guy's ex-military, bullshit. He's still in the military. He's like Tulsi 2.0, right? He's part of some PSYOP team. Johnson looks like a Temu Stephen Colbert. Fresh Air says, how much in money and percent is government AI? I think AI will govern most and humanely. Okay. It was really hard to understand that. They don't have 60 votes there. Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, they're stalled out. Do you think the Republicans cave, though? They seem totally willing to like wait them out. And they've tried to paint, they tried the usual painting the Democrats as the ones that caused all this. Oh, you're good. You're good. Fresh Air, you're fine. Personally, well, you were talking about AI, right? Fresh Air. It could be that they're using the shutdown to inject more Palantir stuff. While everything is down. Food stamps being shut down is a huge deal, Timothy. Yeah. It's gonna, people are gonna get hopping mad when you start taking away people's Social Security, food stamps, Medicare. It's gonna start hurting, and people are gonna get really pissed. Oh yeah, okay. And who knows what kind of, if this is intentional, and you could probably bet that it is on many levels. Who knows what kind of stuff they're doing while everything's shut down, or what. 30% Doge government AI, yeah. Well, Doge was, the whole thing about Doge was for them to get into all these departments, if you will, and start trying to inject the Palantir, the AI, and the all of this, data collection, data oversight stuff. All right. And meanwhile, the government shut down, and the president is tearing down the east wing of the White House. It's wild. It's really wild. At this moment in time, the ballroom is really the president's main priority.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. To the ballroom and the rose garden
I'm going
patio.
to the back. Sorry. Go ahead.
In addition to the ballroom and the rose garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly. And so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority. Kristen.
Last week, President
Okay.
Go ahead.
Scott Andrews says, if the Defense Department needed the government to be open for funding, the government would immediately be reopened. Yeah. Well, they're not. There's plenty of things getting funded. So any of the things that are not getting funded are they're choosing not to fund it. They're, oh, sorry. Oh, of course. Well, yeah. Right. They won't swear in Gravalia from Arizona. These people are mad. Let's take a break and check in on Kshama Sawant, who seems to be the only real outsider progressive running for office. And I like Kshama Sawant. I wish there were more of her, many more of her. All right, Malcolm, stay dry. Kshama says, last week I was invited to appear at Walter Masterson's liberal comedy show in Seattle, taking place at the Emerald City Comedy Club. This evening, his team suddenly revoked their invitation just 24 hours before the show and barely 20 minutes after they sent me their phone number to coordinate my appearance. It is difficult to imagine any reason for such an abrupt, unprofessional cancellation other than political gatekeeping. When Masterson's team initially sent their invitation to me, they suggested I appear alongside Representative Jayapal Pramila. Somehow they apparently weren't aware of the chasm between my independent socialist politics and Jayapal's Democratic Party politics. Despite everything I've said publicly about the bankruptcy of the Democratic Party, what's not difficult to imagine is how negatively Jayapal would have responded to such an idea, as would any number of the other gatekeepers in the Democratic Party who may have been contacted by their team. At the No Kings protest this weekend, Democratic Party politicians talked endlessly about Trump silencing voices, which of course he does to the best of his ability, but the Democrats are all about silencing voices as well, and closing the door to genuine working class politics is one of their favorite ways to do so. I would have been happy to appear alongside Jayapal or any other progressive Democrat and openly debate them. Among other things, I would have asked Jayapal why she voted to fund Israel's Iron Dome. All of it is genocidal hardware that has allowed Israel to carry out the slaughter in Gaza with impunity. I would have asked Jayapal why she voted to break the railroad workers' strike in 2022. I would have also asked Jayapal why she endorsed the arch corporate Democratic mayor of Seattle, Bruce Harrell, in this year's election. But Democratic Party politicians strongly prefer not to have to debate a socialist with a track record of winning historic victories for working people. They strongly prefer not to be called out for their support of the genocide in Gaza and the tens of billions of dollars in military aid to Israel. They certainly don't want to be challenged for betraying working people on Medicare for all by an independent socialist campaigning for free healthcare by taxing the rich. Most of all, they don't want to be called out for being part of the genocidal Democratic Party by someone fighting for a new party for working people. These Democrats rely on people like Masterson to act as gatekeepers to shield them from those who would expose their failures and betrayals. The Democratic Party employs a whole army of gatekeepers, business unionist labor leaders, NGO leaders, progressive media, local Democratic politicians, and other community misleaders. It's the job of the gatekeepers to give cover to the political establishment from the consequences for betraying working people and funding a genocide. This is also why the No Kings protest last week overwhelmingly kept anti-genocide speakers away from the microphones. The organizers certainly didn't want to allow anyone to speak who was actively campaigning to defeat a genocidal Democrat, like my campaign against pro-billionaire warmonger Representative Adam Smith. Yep. The No Kings protest, love the energy. I'm not telling people not to get out and be vocal and not to, but it is an energy cul-de-sac, if you will, and it is a Democrat steering people towards Democrats. again, one more time. And eventually people, if not this year, maybe next year, we'll start to understand that we need something from outside of both corporate parties. By the way, remember the election reform bill that was passed when Biden was president? That bill actually strengthened the two corporate parties. It actually made it much, much harder for third parties to compete nationally in elections. And nobody really talked. Everybody was like, oh, yeah, Democrats, yeah, yay. At least it's not Trump. Meanwhile, they're just doing terrible things in your name. And you don't care because it's not Trump. And that is why Trump is like the perfect foil for them to do anything that they want, right? Because literally they can do anything that they want and still think that you can get their vote because, hey, it's not Trump, right? All right. Meanwhile, in the Mamdani race, Andrew Cuomo posted and quickly deleted this AI-generated ad depicting criminals for Mamdani. Features a black man in a cafe, shoplifting, an abuser, a trespasser, a trafficker, a drug dealer, and a drunk driver, all declaring support for Mamdani. What the heck? And the AI generated video, like it's scary the way it's being used to generate attack ads. And if you've seen the really insane videos coming out of like the DHS or the, like the US government is putting out just absolutely insane AI videos about how they're coming after people. And it's on many levels, it is wild. All right, we'll watch this.
Zohran Mamdani's opponents want you to believe he's an inexperienced radical whose policies will make New York City more dangerous. But what do his actual supporters think?
Mamdani isn't crazy.
He's just trying to even the playing field.
Give everyone a fair shot. Sure, he said multiple times we need to defund the police, but that was just a metaphor.
And yes, he did say crime is a social construct. But that was also a metaphor.
His main backer, the Democratic Socialists' ideas are common sense, such as
decriminalizing misdemeanors, like shoplifting.
third-degree assault.
Wow.
Trespassing. Prostitution.
And drunk driving.
With plans to decriminalize all drugs, Mamdani will be a job creator for drug dealers.
Instead of helping us homeless get off the streets and into the mental health facilities we need, he wants to give us safe injection sites to do crack and let us sleep in subway carts.
These are actual policies Mamdani and the DSA want to implement on day one.
When a woman's being domestically abused, she finally won't have to deal with some pesky cop to arrest the abuser, but now a social worker to help, kumbaya the situation.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Mamdani is finally lowering jail sentences.
Guilty! But Mamdani says you're free to go.
Woo-hoo!
Who cares if legalizing prostitution statistically leads to an increase?
We don't need to watch any more of that. That's wild, though. I mean, typical attack ad stuff. All right, on that vein, I'm going to read this article. I don't know. I like the idea of this, but where they end up, where she ends up, this is Amanda Ianthe. She ends up endorsing Blue Sky. I don't think she understands that Blue Sky is owned by the former CEO of Twitter, what's his name? I can't. Jack Dorsey. There it is. Finally. Took me a while. Blue Sky was, at the end of this article, I'm going to read this article, which has some good ideas in it. And things that, the general gist of it, I like, but like telling people to go to Blue Sky, it's hard to go to any app these days because they're all compromised on some level. So you have to understand if you're on any app, whether it's Signal, WhatsApp, Blue Sky, and they make it, they're like, oh, come over here, get away from that racist Twitter and come to Blue Sky. Blue Sky was started by Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey, he also helped Elon Musk buy Twitter, which is ridiculous, right? Which means they're all part of the same club. They're not against what anybody, nobody's against anybody. Nobody's like, that guy is bad and I'm the good guy and I'm really trying to help you out. No. Jack Dorsey is, so deep up in the intelligence community bunghole. I mean, you get, he can't be just like doing this for the benefit of mankind. So it's kind of ridiculous that it gets to this. But anyways, I'll shut up. Americans need to delete the oligarchy now. We need a nonstop no kings peaceful digital resistance until this ends. All right. Well, invoking no kings right from the byline is a little concerning. But anyways, the American public is not responding appropriately to what's happening, and this is as terrifying as the dystopia itself. In just 1 week, many of us witnessed a senior White House official openly labeling half the country Hamas supporters, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, calling protesters terrorists, a 2024 video circulating of Larry Ellison, Oracle, now owner of TikTok, telling UK Prime Minister Starmer he wants to track the entire population using AI, but first they must centralize everyone's private health data. News that U.S. military satellites, which have been privatized through SpaceX, are creating a corporate-run weapons grid that could cut power, communication, and infrastructure to any country. That is checkmate-level leverage, and you can bet it will be used domestically. Central bank digital currency advancing in secret because they know the public would reject programmable money if they understood what it enables. Total financial control over citizens, something once we're in, we cannot vote our way out of because it transcends the government itself. Does no one understand what this is staging? We are sleepwalking into a digital prison run by a tech oligarch mafia, but unlike old school mob bosses, these ones have AI, satellites, financial chokeholds, total legal immunity, and fascist Christian nationalists as partners. This goes beyond corruption. It's the legalization of fascism and organized crime at planetary scale using AI. China has the non-fascist form of social control. What? It's non-fascist. Israel has tested out a form of this surveillance on Gaza. They're trying to roll out a digital ID in the UK, and the American people must be next. The solution requires seeing clearly. I know that it feels overwhelming, but the longer we stay asleep or turn a blind eye, the harder it's going to be to mobilize against it. There is a solution, but it requires people to understand clearly the situation and stakes without freezing or freaking out and acting in coordinated, organized fashion as if this were a game of strategy, but with life or death consequences. Without a full grasp of the stakes, there isn't enough urgency. Without a full assessment of the situation, who and what we are up against, we are fighting blind. This is not a performance. This is real, and people need to start acting accordingly. If the American public does not rise up and stop this, what we are looking at is the following: techno-feudalism, rule by unelected billionaires using AI. We're pretty much already there. Behavioral data and corporate algorithms to control our financial status. Two-tiered society. Ruling class and feudal slaves. Guess which side you'll be on. Programmable money, where your ability to spend depends on compliance. Guys, use cash whenever you can. Try to use cash. Resist doing Apple Pay everywhere. Programmable money, where your ability to spend depends on compliance, corporate government-friendly views, mass AI unemployment with no safety net, climate collapse used as the excuse to install digital IDs, carbon scores, biometric surveillance. Still coming anyways. Permanent authoritarian rule via platforms, not presidents. This isn't just happening here, it's going global, but if it falls in the US, it falls everywhere. And if we resist here, it will empower others as well. We need to understand that what we're up against is in large part not human. It's a system, a self-perpetuating machine made of laws and incentives that program corporations to prioritize profit and growth at all costs, no matter the toll on human life, ecosystems, or even the long-term survival of the species. The machine marches on. If you're waiting for AI to become sentient before robots rule the world, it's worth noting robots already rule the world. Corporations were long ago given personhood, legal status, and the corporate algorithm is already in charge of our economy and political system. While corporate leaders may be human, they are locked into serving an inhuman system. They are required to maximize shareholder value, no matter the cost. If they deviate from this programming, they're fired. In this way, even well-intentioned individuals become agents of harm through enforced compliance. The oligarchs who oversee the system may also be human, but barely. Study after study shows that the higher you go up the ladder, the more common psychopathic traits become. There's no accident. Capitalism rewards sociopathy, a lack of empathy, obsession with domination, addiction to power, and a willingness to exploit. It's true that power corrupts, but it's also true that corrupt people tend to seek power in the first place. Anyways, what does this mean? It means we cannot rely on human reason, appeals to compassion, or moral outrage to change the system because we are dealing with something that lacks human values. It means our tactics must be aimed towards the source of the power, corporations and the oligarchs that are designing our cages. While going up against these forces may seem daunting, there are tried and true ways to shift power back to the people. More on this in the next section. It's also important to remember the number of people actually driving this nightmare is shockingly small. Top tier architects, a few hundred. Second tier, the enforcers, tens of thousands. Third tier opportunists, hundreds of thousands. The most dangerous group, the one that allows this all to happen, the most dangerous group is quite large. The millions of good people that are still asleep. The silent, the passive, the obedient. The alliance, therefore, becomes the people. Activists, writers, artists, musicians, journalists, advocates, and ordinary citizens who care, who see clearly and do not freeze or give in to cynicism. They are the ones who help wake the good-hearted but distracted, mobilize the frozen or defeated, unite the ready but confused, and as a unified group, organize towards clear action with clear demands. The general strike we all know is coming. The truth is, mass awakening is already happening, and the dark side knows it. This is why they are escalating things so quickly. What's more, systems collapse fast when the public consent is withdrawn via actions that have real economic impacts, like consumer and labor strikes. After all, they can't rule 8 billion people without our participation in the system that is oppressing us. These are all good points. These are all great points. If we divested our energy and our participation, it would be hard for them to keep things going in the manner that they do. What's up? Reflect the Sun is on Odyssey. Kashama is the real deal. I mean, nobody asked for nobody was like, I need AI. I need it now. Fresh Air says, keep cash just in case of blackouts and temporary system shutdown. Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to continue trying to read the rest of this, or I'm trying to consolidate the rest of this before my time is up. It only takes 3.5% of the population in the U.S., that's about 11 million people, to be committed to tip the scales. On October 18th, No King's Day, the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, passionately called for a general strike to stop this corruption and assault on the American people. I'm not against it. I just don't, again, we got to use the No King's energy to further what we want to see happen, and not, No Kings is a corporate backed protest. It is a limited hangout. Again, yeah. So, I'm not going to recommend the things that she recommends in this article, but I'm just reading this for the energy of it. Right? The energy and the information. For general strikes, labor withdrawals across multiple sectors. To be successful, we need strong unions, labor protection, mutual aid infrastructure so people don't starve, organizing strategy, a map of the timing and tactics. What can we do now? Begin the digital exodus, defund the billionaires, delete the oligarchs. A big tech and big media boycott is one of the most powerful moves that we can do right now to slow this assault down and buy us time to organize the general strike. It is a safe, legal, peaceful, and in some cases even saves money and time. Big tech is the nervous system of modern power. It controls the narrative, what we see, it sells and profits off our data, and it controls the economy and politics through social and behavioral control algorithms. Not only does this begin to defund some of the key monopolies backing this fascist coup, but it cuts off their surveillance, stifles their plans, and releases us from behavioral control and mental health impacts. The game plan: expand the 1 million Disney boycott participants to 11 million, boycotting key big tech monopoly players by year end. I would agree with that. Whether you saw through the game of, I think the Disney boycott was real. The people boycotting were real. The theater around it, with Jimmy Kimmel disappearing for 3 days and then coming back, I think was constructed, but people were actually deleting their, and that's bad for them, right? It is bad for them. We do see that when we push back and when we opt out of going along with, taking away our energy from certain institutions, they do respond. Pick 2 or 3 apps or subscriptions to cancel by November 5th. Media Liberation Day. So I guess there's a thing happening on November 5th, Media Liberation Day. Share their progress on Blue Sky. I'm going to say record scratch on Blue Sky. Come on, man. I don't know where else to go, but Blue Sky ain't it. Threads ain't it. Blue Sky ain't it. I know a lot of people went to Blue Sky. I don't even know what's going on over there. I don't really care. You're leaving Twitter to go to another Twitter. Like, what is the point of that? Just because, it's a bunch of liberals over on whatever. I know it's another avenue, but I mean, for God's sake, we have to go to places where actual free speech exists. And I know, some liberals are like, no, I don't want free speech. Listen, man, you're part of the problem. If that's how you think, you are part of the problem. I just want to live in my liberal bubble where everybody agrees with me. Nope. Cut off 60 to 80% of big tech media accounts by December 31st. I mean, these aren't bad suggestions. Going to Blue Sky ain't it, but these aren't bad suggestions. Okay, this is why I'm reading this. If you can boycott as many of these companies and apps as possible, if you could really, whittle it down. I know it's hard, man. It's hard for, and how many apps am I streaming on right now? I know it's hard. It's really tough because I want to be able to talk to people. I want to be able to connect with people. So I am on all these apps. What do I do? I did stop paying for Twitter, and I'm I just don't get it. I'm not going to pay fucking Elon Musk to freaking scramble people's brains. I'm just not going to do it. And I'm not going to pay to be shadow banned, which I am. Nothing changed when I thought, maybe if I buy a subscription, like maybe he'll let people see my stuff. Nope. So why am I paying for that? I know it's hard. I'm using all these apps. I know it's hard, but maybe what I would like to do is get to like one or two really crucial apps, or one or two, places where I'm streaming or talking to people where I feel like there's, more freedom and more control on my end and for everybody else involved. I would like to get to that point. I really would. And I would like to actually get off of all these apps, because I think we're giving them power by doing that, by being here, engaging. The engagement is supposed to be with the people, but we're also engaging with the apps, and that is the part that's dirty. Let's see. Hold on. Anyways. Surveillance tech tools, Google. Seriously, there's like terrible suggestions in here. Some are terrible. Choose Microsoft over Google. Why? Maybe Proton, right? I have a Proton account. A lot of people have Proton. Cancel Amazon, Apple, Paramount, New York Times, Disney, Spotify, YouTube. These are all decent suggestions. What is MoMe? Anybody know what MoMe is? Open a MoMe account for independent new media feeds. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to look that up. All right. Anyways, that's the end of that. I think there's some good suggestions in there. There's some things to just avoid. Poppy says, at least on Blue Sky, I don't have to see the CEO, Doge, everything. I get it. I mean, I get it. I get it. There's some stupid, heinous stuff on Twitter that makes it hard to take. Going to Blue Sky would be like the same thing to me. It just wouldn't be any different. And I don't know. Boycott selfies and the system crashes. Stay on the Fresh Air says, stay on the apps, get the message out. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, and that's why I think people are doing it, is to try to, here's the thing. So before I go, I just want to say, regardless of the algorithms, the algorithmic crunch, I think that messages are getting through. Some people are able to break through algorithmically or break through the algorithm. Some people are able to have conversations around I don't know, like bypassing what's going on by, digging deeper into a more of like a spiritual manifesting type of, right? Like a Jungian, slash, I don't know what you want to call it, indigenous like way of like seeing the world, right? And it's hard for me to describe what I'm, I'm not doing a good job of describing what I'm saying, but like the guy that I played at the top of the show is kind of one of those like spiritual slash psychological, influencers. And there's a lot of those on the internet. And some of those people, dive into politics occasionally too. Anyways, I think there's a way for people to come together and to transcend and to get enlightenment still from social media, which is why I see that, I see glimmers of hope, and I see glimmers of like understanding and people kind of waking up, like a waking up is going on, even though there is this encroaching, right, technocratic takeover thing happening. So I think, that there's subversiveness going on in all of this, and people are going to continue to find ways to subvert the control mechanisms, right? I'm actually finding a way to subvert the control mechanisms on TikTok, like, which is weird. I'm on TikTok and they have like they've mostly shadow banned a lot of my stuff, or they really squashed me on TikTok. But I started making these posts that were just pictures, no videos, right? So I'm doing the anti-TikTok on TikTok, and it's actually getting a lot of traction where I post these like photo reels, no music, no video, just photo memes. I'm sharing memes on TikTok. And for whatever reason, these memes, and they're very subversive memes politically, they're getting a lot of traction. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I found some little crevice in the algorithm, and I'm skating through the crevice, and people are seeing these posts, and I'm getting a lot of traction on TikTok from these particular posts. It's interesting. And I think people are trying to find, ways, chinks in the code and chinks in the algorithm to kind of like get through and get a message through and to get some traction. And if they try to clamp down on people too much, they know that they're going to lose, right? Everybody's just going to stop using the app. If you can't say anything, if you can't get anything out, there's no point on being on there. So they risk the blowback. They always are risking the blowback, and which I think is the actual point of the original video I played at the beginning of the show. He said, he's talking about the Hopi lore of the man in the red hat. I think it's more about blowback than it is about him changing. It's not about him changing. It's about you risk blowback. You risk sending everybody in the opposite direction of what it is you're trying to do. And you also risk ruining your own business model, which is why these people are stuck on stupid. If you try to lock everybody down in what is supposed to be, a free economy or a free world, like, nobody's going to participate, man. And if nobody participates, you're ruining your business. You're ruining your economy. You're ruining your business. If it's all about the bottom line, there is no bottom line if nobody's participating. If everybody is withholding their support or withholding their engagement, you don't have any bottom line. Right? Right. Okay. All right, guys. Try talking to people in person, says Steph C. Me and other podcasts on multiple streams. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Everybody on Substack, everybody on Odyssey. Reflect the Sun. Whoa. Reflect the Sun said, I donated $20 to an unknown LGBTQ Indigenous mutual aid and actually had my bank email and call me wanting name and address of the person before sending the money. Wow. Whoa. A lot of the old libs that didn't like Bernie are the ones that come out for him now. Meanwhile, the 2060 Bernie crowds are moving to Kashama. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe that's some level of progress. Sure. But you gotta, it's tough. It's tough telling people that their heroes are not real. You know? All right, guys. Thanks so much. Josh is working on Kowloon. Whenever he gets that together, I would love to see it. I hope he does. I know he's working hard. I hope it comes, we need it right now. All right, guys. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific. Until then, beware the bear.